Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I have before you TJ the Corn Snake's new enclosure. He seems to be loving it, and I'm going to walk you through what we did here. Full disclosure, I had filmed all this awesome footage of putting it together, introducing him to it when he first started exploring. I was so stoked. I went back to watch the footage and realized I had held my finger over the microphone on my phone. You couldn't hear anything I was saying. I sounded like a muted, garbled creature, and it was ruined. So, we're trying again. He's already in there, but that's okay. So what do you see before you is a plastic tote. It is not a glass tank. To me, there's about a zillion pros and only one con to this setup versus your traditional, more like this or this, glass tank, okay? Some pros. It is cheaper. It is lighter weight by far. It is unlikely to shatter if it gets hit. Even if it does, you're not going to have hundreds of pieces of broken glass everywhere. It is just as good or better at holding in humidity. Not that I'm super concerned about that. We spray a lot, and obviously I have this huge giant opening on the top with screen, so humidity is going to get out, and we're going to keep spraying it as needed. It's easier to move around. It's on wheels. I love it. I love the setup so much more. A couple of cons. I said one, but actually there's two that I can think of. One, you don't have plastic totes like this unless you're buying, professional plastic pre-made enclosures, which gets rid of a whole bunch of the pros that I had just listed. But if you're just going to Walmart and buying a tote, there's two cons that I can think of. The first one is practical. You don't have these nice fabricated doors with a latch. So it's a little bit less convenient. We ended up taping the back so that it can hinge from here, and then we put these clips on so he can't just push his way out right there. So we will have to remove these clips anytime we're cleaning or feeding or filling up water or anything like that, and open it up from here. So that's a minor inconvenience. We're going to put a hook on the underside of this table so that when we need to, we can just hang his lights while we're working inside the enclosure. So that's fine. It's a minor inconvenience. It's not a big deal. The other thing that to us isn't, I guess, hugely important, but is still a minor, not problem, I guess, but a con, is it just doesn't look as nice. These tanks, especially if you really decorate the inside more beautifully than we typically do, these are beautiful to look at. They just are. Glass looks nice, especially if you keep it clean. It looks like a professionally made enclosure for an animal. The aesthetics is undeniably superior to this. However, I don't find this ugly. So let me walk you through a couple of features. As I mentioned, it's all plastic, so it's super lightweight, even though it's kind of large. I can easily pick it up. My kids can move it. That's not a problem at all. We cut a big old hole out of the plastic lid and bolted on this metal piece that's basically spares for if you have, your more traditional glass tanks. So we just buy these and we use them as the roof of a lot of our custom-made enclosures, because as a metal screen, it's safe to put the lights directly on it. Obviously, the bulb itself is not touching the screen, but it's very, very close. And this stuff is super tough, and it can handle the heat from the bulb, no problem. So that leads me to the second thing, which is the lights. Many of you may have looked at this and thought, well, why is this that much better than the rack system that he was in? It's not that much more floor space, is it? And you're correct. It's not that much more. It's a little bit more floor space. So let me get into why I think this is just a better setup for a corn snake specifically than the rack system. And this is not to bash on anyone who keeps corn snakes in a rack system by any means. We did for years until finally I just thought, you know what, we can do better for him. Let's do better for him. But one, there is way more headspace. This is a tall tub, probably triple the headspace that he had over there. Why does that matter? One, it just allows us to put things in there for him to climb. Okay? He's allowed now, spatially, to get more exercise. He can climb these branches. He can climb up on top of hides. He can climb his fake plants. And he's been exploring ever since we put him in there. He buried himself in Reptile for about 5 minutes when he first came in and was like, yep, I like it. And he's and felt secure enough to come out and start exploring everything, which I love to see. And the headspace allows for a lot more movement. And I think that is important because I have heard anecdotally, I don't have a scientific paper for you, but I have heard, and it makes logical sense to me, that a lot of snakes in a rack system, they're in a tub, they're able to move, of course, but they end up only ever moving back and forth as they move around their tub because it's so short. They don't ever get to move up and down over things, over, uneven terrain, climbing up rocks, climbing over branches, etc. So the muscles along their sides stay strong, but the muscles along the top of their spine don't get used, and they end up getting not fully atrophied, but very much less strong than they ought to be in that part of their body. So whether that is true or not, I've never liked risking things, I guess I could say, if I don't have to, and so we got him out of there. The biggest benefit, though, by far, in my mind, is the lights, okay? In a rack system, there's nowhere to put lights. So even though I use clear tubs as a rule, so they are getting some light in there, they get a real photo period, for example, they don't have good lights shining actually onto them, which maybe for a nocturnal species isn't as big of a problem. My understanding is that in the wild, the sun heats up rocks and whatnot all day long while the snakes are underground or in their hides of whatever sort. When the sun goes down, they come out and they get on top of those hot places that soaked up the sun's heat, and they get their heat that way. So they really are using belly heat even in the wild. However, snakes that are out during the day more regularly, either fully diurnal species or ones that they do come out during the day quite often, they are used to getting their heat and doing their basking under sunlight, where light is beaming down with heat from above, right? It's a very different system of increasing their body temperature than belly heat. And so I'm thrilled to put TJ in a situation where he can get heat and light in a more natural way. So we've got a basking bulb here with heat and light, and this is just UV. And it's a Reptile. It's one of the good ones. I am blanking on the brand, but it's an actual Reptile specific UVA, UVB bulb. And I just think this is going to be so good for his health and his happiness. With proper lighting, he'll actually be able to see properly. It's just better. Okay, I am convinced fully that this is much more ideal for TJ than the rack was, and I'm thrilled to put him in it. So I'm going to open it up, give you guys a peek at him. Flip these lights off. I haven't gotten my hook installed yet, so I'm just going to set these on the ground, which means I do not want them on, obviously. Flip. And where's the other little guy? Flip. Okay. So, being a super lightweight tote, I'm just going to pull this out. No problem. I'm going to set these lights down behind him. Remove my little clips. Perfect. So it's really not that bad. And I'm going to flip this up on our makeshift hinge, show you the inside. So we've got fake plants, we've got a big old water bowl, we've got some pothos in here, got a hide, got some branches, about 4 inches of clean Reptile, and we're gonna add a hide on the cold side over here as well. I knew that he would enjoy burrowing down into the Reptile, which that's what he's doing right now. You can kind of see him under there moving. But just to be extra careful, I don't want him, you know, overutilizing the hot side simply because there's a better hide over here. So we are going to put a hide right in that corner as well for a hide on the cold side. But this is basically finished. This is how we're going to keep it probably, other than that one adjustment. And I'm happy with it. I would love to know what you guys think. I would love to hear any improvements that you guys would make. And also, if you have any questions about this that I missed, that I didn't address, please let me know in the comments. I always try and answer. And yeah, so I hope you like it. I really hope he likes it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, we are the Reptile Barn.